Got it.
Hey, recording in progress. All right.
Yay.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I'm Frank Ferraro, your host, and I have Andrea Cataneo here with me. And today we have a great show ahead of us. And I just want to introduce Andrea. If you haven't known, Andrea is a partner at MSK. MSK is a pretty old law firm, right?
Yep.
Been around a while, right?
Founded in 1908, and we've got offices in LA, Manhattan, in New York, and DC.
Wow.
And, I'm a capital markets lawyer. I help entrepreneurs and business people grow their businesses and do private and public company transactions. But you should know my firm is really known for entertainment. We
Mhm.
represent Disney. I think we've been their go-to for 50, 60 years. A lot of music companies, like we bring clients to the Grammys every year because we do a lot of work for the Grammys for MGM, for lots of big music companies, Warner Music. And yeah, so a lot of my partners are really heavy in that space. And that's just a little fun, important fact because so many companies that are growing have celebrity connections
Oh
or
my
have
gosh.
a movie that they're working on or something that they need financed. And if I can make a connection, I'm a connector. That's what I love to do.
I remember, and we'll talk about this some other time, but I remember when you connected me with Danny DeVito. It was the greatest
Oh,
thing.
how fun
We
was
had
that?
such a great time drinking
Yes.
limoncello, going to
Danny DeVito's
shows.
premier limoncello,
It was
launched.
so
Oh my
fun.
God. Oh my God. Look what I just happened to have right here.
Oh
Can
my,
you
well,
see?
hold on, hold
Can
on. I
you
can't
see
see.
this
There you
picture?
go. All right.
That's me, my darling
Wow.
husband, also
Yeah.
named Dan, and Danny DeVito right in between us. This is so funny that I happen to have these here. And here I am with Rhea Perlman, his beautiful wife. I'm not sure if they're still married, but they're
That was
certainly
the
still.
same. I believe we were there the same. I have a lot of
Yes.
I have a lot of old pictures, and it's really good. And we just definitely should share them.
But this is how far
It was
we go
great.
back. I mean, we've
Yeah,
done deals
that was
together
great.
for 25 years.
It was great. And you know what? I'm really happy now that you're at this firm because a lot of the things we've done. I mean, Danny hasn't been the first and won't be the last celebrity, and a lot of it is
Sure.
they want to be represented in the right way, and especially with a lot of these different deals that are out there. And I mean, when we talk about you being a deal person or a deal attorney,
Yeah.
really the public companies that come to you are looking to access the markets and whatnot. And I mean, how do you go about recommending a way to go with some of these companies? I mean, and I know you're really good at it, and I know you're sizing them up pretty good. And I know each company has different parameters, and
I'm trying to cover up this picture of myself because it looks funny with me next to me. There we go.
all
So
right.
it really depends, Frank. It's a great question because every company is a little bit different. And there are some attorneys and professionals that really specialize in companies when they're in the concept phase, where there's no business yet and they're just trying to drum up their idea and they might need, an intellectual property attorney to, consult with. And they're just getting their,
Kind of like
that's
kind of
not
like
my area. That's
a
really not
startup.
my area. I'm certainly happy to have a conversation and maybe make a connection, but my area of expertise really comes into play and can benefit companies most when they've already established themselves a little bit. It doesn't have to be, a 10-year-old company, but honestly, the profile, 3 to 5 years at least, where they've proven their business model and they have management already in place or some leaders who have a track record. And maybe they're really at the stage where they need to bring on some other advisors that are going to elevate the impression that investors will have when they take a look at their deck or their website. If it's a biotech company, you want to have maybe some doctors on your advisory board, some scientists. If you're raising capital, it's great to have someone in the financial space. It's good to have a corporate securities attorney who understands how to do deals, maybe as your advisor. But having a lot of help and visibly having the right team is going to be, quite the advantage for a company. But you're asking what it really depends on what a company needs. Like if they need a few $1 million for something very specific, I might talk with them about where to go Maybe a loan is best if they have cash flow, or if they're at a point where they're willing to give up a portion of their company. This might remind you of Shark Tank. What is your
That's
company
what it
worth?
is.
Are you willing to part with 10% of your company for $1 million? And that means you're thinking your company is worth maybe $10 million. Where did you come up with that? Was it out of air? Hopefully it's based on some real things. Like, do you have assets? Do you have, revenues? Do you have IP? So I'd ask a lot of questions. My answer to you is I would spend probably most of our first conversation asking a lot of questions and getting to know them personally and professionally. What is it that they're seeking? What do they envision their company being? Pardon me, in the future, in the near future, in the distant future. And then I can help them sort of map out where to go, how to structure a deal. And that's really where the fun comes in. But it's really best to answer the question when I have lots more info.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Great. And I mean, now, I mean, the big thing is a lot of these, and what I've been seeing, because I do see a lot of companies, come across my desk, and what I've
You
been seeing a
do.
lot of, yeah, I mean, what I've been seeing a lot of these companies are doing, Reg A offerings and different type of offerings to go on crowdfunding sites.
Mhm.
And I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, is that good for some smaller companies essentially, or bigger companies, or how does that kind of fit into the marketplace?
Great question. And my first reaction is I am a huge fan of general solicitation exemptions, and Reg A is one of them. We talked very briefly the last time about when a company's, looking to, raise capital selling equity, they have to either register shares with the SEC or they have to be relying on an exemption from registration. Regulation A is an exemption from registration, as is Regulation CF, stands for
Yeah,
crowdfunding. I'm a huge fan because I see this as the future. I see people young and old wanting to get involved in the space of investing in companies that previously could only do so if they were, an investor, an accredited investor under the supervision or realm of an investment banker or a placement agent. With crowdfunding, anyone, whether you're accredited or not, you can invest and you can become a shareholder, unless we're talking about 506C, which could have its very own episode. Those are accredited investors only. It's a relatively new, like as of December of 2012, and really enacted in mid 2015. Regulation D has now 506C. There's long, for 100 years, 90 years, there's been, 506, 504, 505, 506 of, exemptions from registration. But 506C is just for accredited investors. But back to, do I like them? Yes. And I used to say, if a company has a fan base, an affinity group, products, consumer products, they would be a great candidate for a Reg A or for a Reg CF, because their customers might very well want to become
absolutely.
shareholders.
Yeah. And I thought, like, with regular traditional crowdfunding sites, they would get, perks and rewards and all kinds of things,
Yeah,
and when getting stocks, at a price, and being able to trade them is pretty cool.
definitely. And,
Yeah.
there are some really good, the last time I looked, there were about 40 or so FINRA regulated portals. If a company wants to consider using someone's platform for their crowdfunding offering, or wants to get educated a little bit about it, there are a bunch that are good. I mean, one of the older ones, Start Engine, has now so many others that are doing, what they do and more. I like Deal Maker. Have you looked at Deal Makers? They're
Mhm.
incredible. Really, I like the founder. What's nice to see with some of these is they're very user friendly. So you absolutely need to chat with an attorney. Some of, I'm on many sites a recommended attorney to have a conversation with, and a lot of us are happy to have that initial free consultation to give some guidance at the beginning. But the user friendliness of many of these portals and platforms enables a company to get a little more familiar with the process. If they're established, if they have revenues, if they have clients or customers already, that might be a really good avenue, might be a good
So,
way to go.
so you would say maybe uh, prior to doing it like a public offering with a brokerage
Yes.
firm or?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's great that you're asking these questions because even a public company can utilize general solicitation offering exemptions. A public company can use Reg A and Reg CF, but a private company is wise to use these exemptions to get their toe in the water, to start accessing the capital market, understanding how it works, and building a shareholder base. Because as you know, as a market maker who's done thousands of 15C211s, as I recall,
Yeah.
you need a shareholder base, don't you? So
100%, yeah.
a nice way to build a shareholder base is, let's say I'm a company that sells, like I've got this cool client, Zipa, happy Z's spelled backwards. They sell this cool medical device that a dentist invented that really eliminates or sharply diminishes snoring. It's got like a special tongue strap and
Ooh,
right down on it. It's
wow.
FDA 510K cleared by the FDA. Super, super cool. I think they're up to, and you could read this on their website, but they're approaching $400,000 a month on Amazon. This is a cool company. So they were a great candidate for a Reg CF. Why? Because they have all these customers. They have
Right.
hundreds of thousands of customers over the years. So why not market to them and see if they want to become a shareholder? So they're a good candidate. But don't limit yourself if you're a company that does something else to just other exemptions, because Reg CF or Regulation A might be still worthwhile. And starting with CF is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. You could raise $1,070,000 without audited financial statements. And if you have audited financial statements, 5 million. These numbers may have changed recently.
Oh,
If
wow.
anyone's interested, I'm happy to have a conversation. But here's what's cool about CF, among lots of things. Regulation A has a testing the waters component to it, where you can ask for indications of interest. But for Reg A, there's tier 1 and tier 2. I don't want to get into all the details now, but it's a more expensive process to do a Reg A. Instead of using the testing the waters, which we have found, I say those of us experienced with doing these types of raises or helping clients in this area, the testing the water component for a Reg A tended to be a waste of time because lots of people say, oh, I'm interested. Let me click that button. And then when it came down to the offering being open, lots of them wouldn't invest. So that sort of was not particularly useful. The real way to test the waters is actually sell some shares. Do a Reg CF and sell some shares. That's the perfect way to test the waters. Now you know who's coming in. Now you know what the interest level is. And that could raise enough capital for a small growing company to then say, okay, now I've got a few $100,000. I'm going to do that Reg A. And I'm going to call someone like Andrea Cataneo or Frank Ferraro about the process and decide which is the best way to go, because I, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, want to do this strategically, grow my business, not give too much of it away, so raise what I need, put it to use, and then go on that next level of capital raising.
Wow. Wow, that was a really good reason why we should come and talk to you. Andrea, thanks again for giving us a little insight on
I'm covering my face again.
what can go public and really start it going. How could somebody get in touch with you if they want to connect?
Thank you. Well, my email address is ajc@msk.com. My telephone number, which should be visible, but it's 973-202-3049. I am textable. And please call me if you're interested in learning more about ways in which I help professionals, people in the accounting and legal space, any service provider to the private and public company space, develop and grow their business. I am the exec producer of a show called Heart of Influence, and I'd be delighted to tell anyone about it. And Frank, it is always fun being on your show, and thank you so much for inviting me again.
Always glad to have you. Always, and I know you always have something great to say. So until next time, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Andrea. Have a
Take
great
care.
afternoon. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.